I get it. When you're hunting for a new sewing or embroidery machine, the first thing you see is a rack of cheap, off-brand units that promise everything for under $200. Most of the time those promises end in tangled bobbins, missed stitches, and a pile of frustration that makes you wish you'd saved a little extra for a real machine. So the question is, does the Janome Skyline S9 Indigo feel like a smarter buy, or is it just another pricey toy that will sit idle after the excitement fades? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I spent a solid week testing the Skyline S9 in a small home studio, swapping it between quilt blocks, a wardrobe redesign project, and a series of personalized embroidery gifts for friends. The goal was to see whether the features that sound good on paper actually translate into less hassle and more creative freedom in everyday use. What I found is that the S9 does a lot of the heavy lifting that usually falls on the user, but it also comes with a few trade-offs that are worth knowing before you click Add to Cart. First off, the biggest hurdle for anyone new to computer-controlled embroidery is getting the fabric to feed smoothly while the needle moves at high speed. Janome's ACU Feed Flex system is a layered feeding mechanism that pulls fabric from underneath, which means you can work with everything from a delicate silk scarf to a thick denim pair of jeans without constantly adjusting tension knobs. In my experience, the machine handled a 10-ounce denim patch for a jean jacket repair without any skipped stitches, something I'd struggled with on older mechanical models. The real benefit shows up when you're doing longer runs, like a 30-inch embroidered monogram down the side of a tote bag. The fabric stays flat, and you don't have to keep stopping to realign the material. That said, the Flex system does add a little complexity when you first set it up. The feeder plate is thicker than on simpler machines, so you need a bit more clearance on your workbench. If you have a cramped sewing table, you might find yourself reaching over the machine more often than you'd like. It's not a deal breaker, but it's a hidden trade-off that cheap alternatives completely skip, though they also skip the smooth feeding you get here. The built-in embroidery designs are a nice way to get started without hunting for third-party files. Janome includes a decent library of motifs, from floral borders to geometric shapes, all stored in the machine's internal memory. When I loaded a floral wreath onto a plain pillowcase, the design stitched out cleanly with vibrant thread colors that matched the on-screen preview. The full-color 5-inch touchscreen makes selecting and scaling these designs feel almost like using a tablet. You can pinch, zoom, rotate, and even mirror the pattern with a few taps, which is far more intuitive than scrolling through endless menus on older LCD screens. If you're the type who likes to use your own digitized files, the Skyline S9's wireless connectivity comes in handy. Janome's dedicated app lets you transfer .gef or .ps files directly from your phone or tablet, no USB stick required. I tried uploading a custom logo I created in Ink/Stitch, and the transfer was instant. The machine then auto-centers the design on the hoop, saving a few minutes that would otherwise be spent eyeballing placement. For people who regularly pull designs from online marketplaces, this wireless link removes a lot of friction. One practical weakness shows up when you're switching between sewing and embroidery. The machine uses a one-step needle plate conversion, which means you lift a small lever, pull the plate out, and replace it with the embroidery version. The process is quicker than on many mid-range models, but you still have to pause your workflow to change the plate and rethread the needle. If your projects involve a lot of back and forth between quilting a block and embroidering a logo, you'll notice the interruption. It's not a fatal flaw, just something to be aware of if you value seamless transitions. Now, who should actually consider buying the Skyline S9? If you're a hobbyist who already has a basic sewing machine and wants to dip your toe into embroidery without buying a second machine, this is a solid upgrade. The combination of a large embroidery area enough for most home decor projects and the ease of loading custom designs makes it a good fit for DIY gift makers, small-scale Etsy sellers, and anyone who wants to add a personal touch to garments. The touchscreen and wireless app also appeal to younger creators who are comfortable navigating digital interfaces. On the other hand, if you're a professional who runs a high-volume embroidery shop, you might find the speed and stitch density a bit limited compared to industrial-grade models. The S9 tops out at around 800 stitches per minute, which is respectable for a home machine but slower than the 1-200 plus speeds you see in dedicated commercial units. Also, the machine's maximum embroidery area, while generous for home use, may not accommodate very large banners or oversized quilts without rehoping. If those